We're back, people, and today we're going to film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 1. And even though they had a bit of a slow start, I think there's still things they definitely need to work on. They were great in the second half. First look at them under Anthony Weaver as the defensive coordinator, and I liked what I saw for the most part schematically. I feel like he did a really good job mixing things up. Even though the Dolphins did struggle versus the run early on, they tightened things up in the second half. I feel like the linebackers, David Long and Jordan Brooks, made some impact plays after some, inconsistent run fits early on. They tightened up in coverage a little bit. I still want to see, things work better. I think when Ramsey can play fully healthy and be moved around and be a little more versatile. But I loved all the pre-snap movement, how we disguise coverages, going from, single high to two high to single high, all the different variations of cover 3 that the Dolphins ran, other types of things they mixed up with, like inverted 2, like we see here, Tampa 2 type stuff. Very, very intriguing concepts that they had run across the board. And I just loved how much passion and fire they played with, as you'll see on some of these plays. And they made the biggest plays in the game that we'll get to. The Holland fumble, forced fumble, the hustle play from everyone on the defense, specifically Ramsey on that 4th and 1. Just really, really good plays across the board. They did come out early on, first drive, really, really good play. Calais Campbell kind of shut down this drive himself. They slide their protection. They're running play action, and Campbell just reads it the whole way. This is just pure instinct. Smart football player. This is what, playing in the NFL for like 17 years gets you. Get upfield, and he just gets the sack instantly. First snap of his Dolphins career. Getting a sack. Just very, very good stuff from him. Love seeing that. Second down play, they had a nice little run stop. Campbell and Phillips. Shout out Phillips as well. I'm going to do a film breakdown specifically on Phillips tomorrow, because he played lights out in his return from Achilles, so you'll see some of that. Dolphins in this situation over here, they're playing quarters to the bottom, cover 2 more up top, but they're carrying here, just playing, in like the zone quarters type of look. Defense, Poyer playing over the top, they're capping this. Brooks actually gets isolated on Kirky. That happened a couple times. I actually thought Brooks did a decent job staying with receivers when he was isolated and empty. David Long does a good job here, rerouting and gaining depth on the number 3. Lawrence tries to throw it over the top. They run stunts up front, and Poyer is there to break on it. It gets overthrown. Could have come away with a pick on the first drive. That would have been amazing. It didn't happen there, but nice sign to see there on the first opening drive. Now here versus the run, they struggled, specifically against Bigsby. They actually kind of shut down ETN as a runner. But here, they kind of just all cross-face. Like, if you look at D-tackle, cross-face, the A-gap, he cross-face to get to, trying to get over across here. So Phillip knifes inside, but then Holland does as well. If this is happening, Phillips crosses face, and Holland is also trying to knife down inside, they're going to try to bounce this to the outside. It's a tough ask because now Brooks has to have multiple gap responsibilities and has to be able to scrape over the top, stay tight, because if he gets too wide, they're going to cut up the middle. This is also a bad play by Ramsey. Ramsey really is kind of the problem on this one, because Brooks is in a bad spot here. He probably could have been a little bit wider, but if Ramsey plays this better to the outside, him and Brooks could kind of sandwich him for just a couple of yard gain, but Ramsey gives up contain, and Bigsby is able to get out to the edge there. It was just poor run fits across the board. Ramsey did not have the best game for his standards, which is, it was kind of, expected. He's playing on an injured hamstring, but he made a big play when it mattered most. Here was kind of where the Dolphins struggled, I think. Versus play action, when they were struggling to stop the run and they play action like this, we couldn't really get pressure, and there was just so much time. Linebackers don't gain too much depth here. Very tough ask for Brooks, who's your hook defender, to get back and cover this curl, this deep curl route that's 15 plus yards down the field. He gets kind of taken slightly out of the throwing line by Lawrence. Poyer gains a little too much depth, and they just find the soft spot. Very tough ask for your defense to hold on to this coverage for this long out of play action, and need someone to potentially, carry that guy down the field in other situations. Very difficult. But they started to settle in, those guys, later on, and just looked much, much better. I just want to show this because I like how they disguise this stuff. So pre-snap, as you can see, they're showing a too high shell here pre-snap. This was the difference, I think, from Miami. This from last year to this year is they're going to be way more movement from pre-snap to post-snap, disguising. So here they're showing a too high. This could be potentially quarters, maybe a cover 6, cover 8 look. But Poyer bumps down to make this cover 3 buzz, so he's buzzing, playing as that middle hook. Holland drops deep middle of the field, and they both were interchangeable throughout this game. Now, Poyer's able to take this away, but he's also in a good spot to potentially take away this throw over the middle. He gains enough depth, so it kind of puts Lawrence in a conflict. And then Holland closes on this, doesn't allow him just to sit in space either. So that kind of just all gets taken away. Unfortunately, Lawrence is able to kind of escape the pocket there and get out of it. There's also one of, like, Chop didn't get too many chances to rush the passer. This was like one of them right here, where he actually got a true one-on-one. He actually did a pretty good job bull rushing. Unfortunately, everyone else on the defensive line was slanting to this side, so there was just so much space for Lawrence to step up into. If there was anyone on the D-line rushing from here, Chop could have potentially had a pretty good play here under different circumstances. But I do like, you can see the speed to power that Chop possesses, and hopefully we get to see that in games down the line where he actually can play more snaps. This was the deep pass interference call on Ramsey. He just kind of was struggling with Brian Thomas Jr.'s speed, and the play action definitely slowed down our pass rush early. It was kind of the same on both sides. They were to create a little bit of push late, but they get the PI, and that led to the Jaguars' first touchdown in this game. Dolphins definitely love the different types of coverage. Like, they get a first down. It's like a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7 situation. They get a first down, but I just want to, like, look at the coverage that they end up running here. Poyer's down in the box looking like he's going to play as, like, a flat defender. Like, they're going to play, like, cover 3, potentially cover 1. They got a single high, middle of field close, and they rotate into this where he goes to 2 high to this side of the field. Kohu ends up being another 2 high safety type look. So they're running like a 2 invert, and then Poyer goes to the middle of the field where he could potentially lurk and find things, read the QB's eyes. Basically like a Tampa 2 type situation where he's like the Mike now. Would have been very interesting to see. Like, I feel like this type of coverage disguise can work in a lot of situations, so I'm glad that's in the playbook, because this is just great disguise, and like, it kind of forces, I think, Trevor to hold on to the ball longer than he wanted to. He finds his check down late, but we weren't able to get the pressure there. We started getting pressure much later. Everyone rallies to the ball. They pick up the first down. It's no big deal. But the run defense started improving. Good play here. I think David Long and Jordan Brooks started making some good plays, and we are holding up better up front. In the interior, Campbell and Sealer really clog up this initial lane. Like, they're running some power here with a puller. Left guard 76 is pulling. Phillips is able to take him on. Look at Brooks kind of just toss the tight end out of the way, throws his shoulder into him, tosses him, meets him in the hole. Long also pursues into it. They get a hit. Sealer there. Just way better job with your run fits. Everyone playing so aggressive. I do like, even when the defense wasn't maybe making the best plays, they were playing downhill and with like some feistiness, which I think is a very, very nice sign for the team. This was a kind of tough play. I think this one's on Kohu, because Dolphins clearly go into like a cover 6 like quarters type situation to one, and then cover 2 to this side. So it's cover 2 to this side. Poyer's playing as a deep half safety. Holland is the quarter safety here. Storm Duck, I believe, is over here matched up 1-on-1. And then they have Fuller down here as the flat guy. Kohu is a curl, but should potentially carry the seam as well to get vertical, because you're like a curl vertical defender. This is your Mike, who's just like your main hook defender in the middle of the field, kind of matching up over on number 3. So Kohu should carry this for a little bit, and then once he carries it a little bit longer, then Poyer could potentially get over the top. So I think this is just, week 1, slight miscommunication, people not understanding the responsibilities exactly. These are things that I do see getting better with time, but we did give them some pretty free plays to work with down the field like that to attack the middle. This was the second touchdown. I believe this is the last touchdown they gave up because they didn't allow any points in the second half. They'll get another field goal before half here. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Like, this is just a perfect throw. He has time here in the pocket, struggling to get pressure early on. I think Phillips started to get going later. Coming off Achilles, it kind of makes sense. Dolphins are running quarters down in the red zone, so running some quads. Ramsey sticks here. They've kind of passed this off to Poyer, I believe, the safety. They're sitting on this curl. Lawrence releasing this ball. This is just an insane throw. Like, you can't even stop this, man. Like, an insane throw. Hitting Brian Thomas Jr. in the back of the end zone. Sometimes someone just makes an absolutely beautiful play. You actually played this stuff pretty well. And Brian Thomas Jr. is able to get over the top late, and, nothing you can do there really in that situation. Dolphins go Tampa 2 again. This time Brooks is asked to cover the deep middle of the field, and he basically gets one-on-one with Gabe Davis, and he is just a little bit late to it. Like, you can see the potential. Like, Brooks flashed a lot in this game, but there was some definite negatives. But you can see, like, where once he really gets comfortable and feels out this scheme and, like, knows exactly where to be, like, this is going to be good. And Brooks is just a little bit late, and he's coming from this side, too, because he's gaining depth, trying to find the receiver from the opposite side of the field he's coming from, and Gabe sits down in between. He has to try to chase to it, and he probably would have been there to make it play the catch point, but Gabe Davis does a great job working back towards the ball to avoid it, and they just had another big play before this, and this gets them down basically in field goal range right before half. But after this, it was just great work from the Dolphins. Dolphins bringing different pressure looks. They actually go all out 0 here. We're like bringing 0, love that. But we drop Phillips like into the quick throwing lane. And you can tell Holland is kind of baiting this. You can tell he's one-on-one with Ingram, so it's a tight end. Holland is playing deep. He's really not that scared to get beat vertical from a tight end, even though Ingram's pretty athletic. But you can tell he's sitting on this. Like, he's not really getting depth. He is ready to break. He knows he's a couple yards off the first down, and that from his position, the ball's probably going to come to him, and it does. Lawrence, he anticipates, boom, knocks the ball out perfectly. Another big play from Holland. That was like right up out of the half. This was like the one big negative run that they kind of had in this half. Just clear miscommunication from Brooks and Long. Because Long tries to shoot downhill. So, like, you would think Long would be responsible here, and then Brooks would be more responsible to play this A gap. Because that's basically the only gap that they give up. Everyone else is fitting it. But I think Brooks thinks, like, oh, Long's trying to swap because they're going to swap spots here. Because Long hard snaps this way. Like, he's going to shoot into that A gap. So Brooks thinks like, okay, then I'll replace him, be patient, square replace. But then they both shoot the same gap because Long stops his momentum. So to me, it's hard to know who exactly is in the wrong here, but it's clear that they just need to have better communication throughout the game. But after this, it was like very good run defense. The only other run was like that was going pretty far was this one, the fumble, and Javon Holland just made the absolute play of the game right here. Which also, I believe David Long gets held on this play, because look at David Long. David Long's in a place to make a tackle, and this right tackle pulls him away, so that should have been called a holding. Etienne's able to get through. This was going to be his longest run of the day, and boom. Holland with the perfectly placed punch. Biggest play of the game, the momentum shifter. We scored a touchdown right after this. Out into the back of the end zone, Kohu recovers it. Just absolutely beautiful. Holland's been absolutely masterful doing this stuff, and it seems like he was saying like he's working even more to do this. And it was a huge play. Like, pay that man. Like, he deserves it, man. Really special stuff. Here was another huge play for the Dolphins defense. They were just making plays out there. 4th and 1. They come out in this formation. I've seen the Jags run this before, where they come out in this formation. They basically run like a sweep off end, trying to get Etienne to capture the edge. One, great job by Ogba to just throw this left tackle to the ground, which forces a big bounce here from Etienne. And then Jordan Brooks, who was also playing off the edge, does also a great job. He takes on 2 players here. He takes on 85 and 76. So he forces both blockers to take him on. And now everyone else is in pursuit. Ramsey comes up and fills and sets the edge. Slowed down here. Etienne now is trying to reverse field. And boom, just look at the hustle from Ramsey. This is also a great play from Phillips. Phillips off the Achilles, played an amazing game, and I'm going to really get into that in his video, but he's always such a high effort player. Him forcing these guys to come back and really take Etienne to like take a wide angle here gives everyone a chance to get in pursuit. Great job across the board. Ramsey, Holland, Calais, Sealer, Poyer's there to make a play. Just absolutely beautiful work overall from pretty much everyone to really stop this. Fuller, Poyer, like absolutely perfect. So that shut down that drive, put the Dolphins in a decent position. Here's another big stop. This one was after, I think this was right before the Dolphins had tied it, or they had just tied it. But basically, they bring pressure. This is a 3rd down situation near midfield. They go all out 0 again. I love bringing pressure in these situations. Just force these guys to be uncomfortable, because he has Kirk open, and it just makes the throw slightly off. It makes it a tough throw, a tough catch to make. It just really lowers those percentages. You get after it. You get Holland to come free with the blitz that you bring here. Phillips brings pressure. They start, the linebackers give a little bit of a late blitz. Running back commits to the inside. You bring Calais underneath. Poyer's responsible for this receiver working across, but Campbell can kind of take away that throwing lane. So he throws it to Kirk, who's on Kohu, and it just makes the throw very difficult. And yeah, that was right before, I believe the Dolphins tied it after that play. And then this was the Jags' final offensive drive, where the Dolphins came out and got back-to-back sacks on this drive. Here's the stunt. Great work from Sealer. This is what I was talking about in my Sealer video. He is a very good player on the crashes. So he crashes down, gets upfield on the left guard anyways, takes the full left guard attention, and Ogba is able to loop around and get the sack on Lawrence, who tries to step in the pocket. And they ran some nice little bait of coverages on the back end to make things not super simple for Lawrence to read. I thought Long did a much better job in coverage than he usually does, so that was nice. And then the final play, the Jalen Phillips sack, who, absolute legend. He gets chipped here, gets around the edge. He's sowing burst and bend. He gets past that chip, dip underneath, keep working at it, get to Lawrence. Dolphins, I believe, are running cover 2 man on the backside. Everyone else is, as you can see from this picture, it's covered up pretty nicely, and there's 2 safeties over the top. And Phillips just closed out the game, and I'll have a full film breakdown with all the Phillips plays. And also have a Aaron Brewer breakdown later today. So definitely check that one out. Loved what the defense showed. I do think there is still some growing pain that the Dolphins defense is going to have under this new defense, but you can clearly see the potential, and the offense struggled too. It was a game where I thought the offense struggled for the most part, and the defense struggled for a half, and they still won the game. So if they can win the game when not performing well, you're feeling pretty good. So definitely a gritty performance. Definitely love that out of the defense. Excited to see how they look throughout the year. They have a tough match on Thursday. Josh Allen's a good player. So if you guys have a deep, comment and subscribe. Let's get it done.